Hola, hola. Bienvenidos a Esperanza Pense, donde la Esperanza vence. Welcome to Esperanza Pense, where hope wins. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. And let's do 3 Hail Marys. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners. Now, please pray for us sinners. I like to say please because it's like so demanding. The way that Catholics write, it's like so demanding. Holy Mary, Mother of God, please pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. And I don't say that other word usually either. So I always kind of improv a little bit with, hi, Sherry, how are you? Hi, Dead Wolf. Good to see you both. Buenos dias. Yes, so GEMiNi New Moon incoming right around 24 degrees and 3 minutes. And thinking about this moon and thinking about the events, other events that are going on today, made me want to cloak myself, if you know what I mean. Put on a Snuggie and come out here and sing and pray and play with you and talk a bit about this moon. So let's check it out. This is am I still muted? Am I muted? Hmm. Sherry, you can hear me? Everybody can hear me okay? Oh, good. Then I'm glad. Okay, good, good, good. Then I'm glad I did that little intro at the beginning because I just was like kind of playing the guitar, kind of just like tuning the guitar, getting myself tuned up, getting the guitar tuned up. Okay, so now we're all on the same page. What's up, Charles? How are you doing, Randy? How you doing, Charles? Buenos dias. And yeah, so basically we just said 3 Hail Marys. I improved a little bit because I like to say please. I don't like to command spirits to do anything, like especially not Mother Mary or God, you know. Sometimes when we pray or sometimes the way that the prayers are written, I feel like they're so just like demanding, like jeepers. You could ask, they may not answer, you know what I mean? I don't know. So I kind of insert my little pleases and thank yous up in there when I pray, but you know, it is what it is. So today I was thinking about 3 Hail Marys because of there's a lot of events going on in the news and there's a lot of events going on in the media and in the arts and entertainment fields. So all of this has symbolically been represented to me in my interpretation of this moon. Okay, so now there's no sound. Oh my goodness. I might have to start a new stream if it's. Hold on. It's no sound. Yeah, I shouldn't. You know what? Okay. 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 Well, if you guys thank you for keeping me updated on the sound, because if it does go in and out, or if it doesn't seem to be working, I will have like one eye kind of on the chat and be able to come back and forth and just make sure. But I think that there is some lag time between what I see and what you might hear. So I don't know. But I would like to talk about some of the Mars symbolism that I'm noticing. I would like to talk about just the fact that, like, in the entertainment sphere in general, and in the political sphere, in social media, in mass media, I just think that there is a lot of darkness surrounding this dark moon. And some of the messages that I've been here, I guess I'll just come here and say hi. Oh wait, let me get rid of that. Hi. Hi there. Thank you for being here. Thank you for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me. I appreciate it. And if you want to go ahead and please like, share, subscribe, let your friends know that we're over here at Esperanza Tarot Monday through Friday. I upload at 6 a.m. so we can tune into the energies of the day. Today we are talking about the GEMiNi New Moon incoming. It happens tonight. Right around 10 p.m., 9:54 p.m. Central Standard Time, so you can adjust to your location. It's happening at 24 degrees and 3 minutes. And there are some aspects and planetary placements that I'd like to focus in on. And symbolically, I've been noticing things. So I would first of all like to refer you to Robert Phoenix Astrology. He is an excellent teacher, and I've learned a lot about astrology by watching him cook, essentially. And he and Mario Garza from Symbolic Studies just did a very good rundown of Gemini energy, twinning, the symbology that they notice out there in the world and in here in us, archetypes that we might be working with at this time. So I would love to refer you to that video. It was called the Friday Farcast. I believe that he also is doing a Sunday night Astro Live today. I'm not exactly sure which time that comes out, but he usually every Sunday does the Sunday night Astro Live. And yes, so I'd like to give props to my teachers, and those are two of my teachers. Also, I have a lot of colleagues that have been on this channel. You are probably familiar with Wise Wizard Merlin, Raffi Dahl from Night's Light Astrology. One of our teachers is David Palmer, the Leo King. So definitely keep posted on my page to learn more about other creators. Other creators show up in this chat. So if anybody shows up today, I threw this up like last minute because I'm gonna riff today by myself, solo riff, solo improv riff of just things, wormholes around this moon energy that we can talk about. And I had some time this morning, and I thought, well, nothing wrong with saying a few Hail Marys in the morning to get our day started right. Hail Mary, full of grace. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for being with me. And I'd like to present this beautiful Labradorite that I got for my birthday the other day as a gift from my friend Mary, actually, full of grace. She's the Grateful Gardener. So I'm working with this. This is good for the third eye. If anybody's working with Labradorite, just make sure that you cleanse and clear it often, because it's a psychic stone and it can activate your third eye We're working with our friend Amethyst, who keeps us clean and clear while we cook over here at Esperanza Tarot. So I hope everybody's having a good day so far. How is your buenos dias going so far? Buenos dias a todos. Gracias por estar aquí. I love you. I love you. Esperanza loves you. And I appreciate you. And now I'm only gonna kind of pay attention to the chat if I like ask a question or if the sound, if it looks like people are saying no sound, no sound. Because I get a little too distracted, and today I think I'm going to make this more of like a lecture style event, and I might catch up with the chat in a little bit, so just so I don't get too pulled from my train of thought, which is a train that takes many stops and detours. So waka waka, here we go. I'm looking like a Muppet. Waka waka, here we go. Okay, so something that has been on my mind, the energy that just keeps coming in for me for this moon, and it, and it's like my body answers my questions before I even ask them. Okay, so it's like I start to feel things, and some people are clairaudient, they can hear things. Some people are clairvoyant, they can see things, like they get visions and stuff like that. Like I feel in my body, I can feel things, or certain emotions will come through very strongly, like for like no reason, or I'll present like in a health way, like I'll have like my body is my messenger. My body is my messenger. Okay. So I've been getting messages, and before I started receiving like the dreams and because then I started getting the dreams like after my body already started giving me messages a couple 2-3 days ago. And now, as of like yesterday, today, like I'm getting the dreams, right? And I'm getting more like of a movie scene, all right? Like coming through this fun movie that we all live in. We all are but actors on the great stage of life. And speaking of acting and the great stage, I would like to start the stream out by boring you to bits. Uh, the phrase that kept coming for me for this dark moon, this dark moon, man, we are, it's nice out. It's beautiful out. The sun's out. So sun's out, fun's out, Sunday fun day. But I couldn't help but think of the phrase, something wicked this way comes. So I'm going to put you through that. I'm going to put you through that. And we're going to read through that. And Wise Wizard Merlin would be okay with this. And I'm okay with this because it's my channel and I am the channel on my channel. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to read to you. And if anybody in the chat, good morning, Brandy, buenos dias. If anybody in the chat can tell me what act this comes from, because you're going to know the play, like you're going to know the play. But if you can tell me the act, I'll pull a card for you. Today we're working with Morgan Greer's tarot, my favorite ever. And for you, you can choose between that. You can choose a dumpster fire oracle card, or you could choose Tarot de Maria Celia. All right, so those are your choices. So if you get that right between now and 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., I'm going to cut it off. But between now and 10 a.m., if you answer in the chat, hey, Stephen, you're going to know the answer to this. If between now and 10 a.m., you can answer what act this comes from while I'm reading it, answer in the chat, say the number, just answer with the number of the act that this is from, then I'll pull a card for you for this Gemini new moon. How about that? Free readings. Fun, huh? All right. So let me get to reading, and then y'all can tell me in the chat what this act is. This is scene 1, so we're looking for the act and maybe the play, but everybody's going to know the play. Scene 1, a cavern, in the middle, a boiling cauldron. Thunder, enter the 3 witches. First witch, thrice the brinded cat hath mew'd. Second witch, thrice and once the hedge-pig whined. Third witch, Harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time. The first witch, round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw, toad that under cold stone days and nights has 31. Swelter'd venom sleeping got, boil thou first in the chambered pot. And then all of the witches together say, double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. The second witch says, fillet of a fenny snake. In the cauldron boil and bake, eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth, boil and bubble. And then all of them say, double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. The third witch says, scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf, of the raven, salt sea shark, root of the hemlock digged in the dark. Pay attention to these words. Liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and sips of yew, silvered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drabe. Make the gruel thick and slab, and there to a tiger's chaldron for the ingredients of our cauldron. And then all of them again. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. And then Hecate enters with the other 3 witches, now there's 4. Hecate says, oh, well done, I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains. And now the cauldrons sing like elves and fairies in a ring, enchanting all that you put in. And then music and a song. Hecate leaves the stage. The second witch says, by the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks. And then Macbeth enters and says, hey now, you secret black and midnight hags, what's it you do? And then they all say, a deed without a name. Yeah, put the number down. You guys can put the number down if you want. I mean, don't feel pressured, but I do have cards if you would like your card read for the GEMiNi New Moon energy. No pressure. But I also put in the description of this video, I put that what I just read from Macbeth, scene 1, act. Say the numero to get your card read. So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking I'm thinking by the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes. And I'm no witch at no cauldron, yo. Let me tell you. I feel things and I see things and I say things. And for those of you who have eyes and ears to hear me, it could be helpful to help you fine-tune your free will and intuition, as we do here every day at Esperanza Bense, where hope wins. And yes, let's talk about this chart. So until 10 a.m. Oh, you can accomplish that, Stephen. You can get a cauldron. Let's talk about this moon right here. Everybody can see what we're looking at, I hope. So let me take this off of the stage here. All right, maybe we can see better like that. I'm gonna sip something. Cause I'm the daddy-o of the patio, dude. Charles, you know it's true. I'm the daddy-o of the patio. So what I really noticed, I love that word. I'm going to use that. I got it from, like I said, Robert and Mario's live stream the other day. They were just noticing things. So, I don't have no cauldron. I'm wearing a Snuggie, okay? I ain't wearing no you know what, you know where, with you know who. However, I have a feeling there are some who are, okay? And I feel like this is a three-act play because something I really noticed about Robert and Mario's conversation is that with the Gemini, we're dealing with two pillars. We're dealing with twins, but there's always that third implied force that really gets things cooking. It takes three to make the Trinity, right? So there's always that implied third leg to this story, right? And that might be in a metaphorical sense, that might be in a literal sense, okay? But with Gemini, there's always going to be that implied third, okay? Whether that was, it could have been the birth mother, it could be the dark mother, okay? So keep that in mind. I'm keeping my focus on Mother Mary full of grace, for sure. But I believe that Act One of this play rolled out right around the 12th on Thursday. As you all know, a very famous movie by a very famous director dropped that day when Uranus was in square with the nodes. Uranus was bending the nodes. Uranus, the planet of outer space, the planet of vibes throughout society, of airwaves, of manipulating vibes as well, and impressing upon people some sense of intellectual notions and not necessarily Aquarian energy, Uranian energy. It's supposedly revelatory, right? It's supposedly like this great lightning bolt that comes in a disruptive way and opens people's eyes and gets people shook. But I think that release was just the first act of a three-act play. I think that Act Two is rolling out today, this evening. I believe that portals are being opened. I believe that a lot is happening underground. A lot is happening with the underworld. Okay. Look at all this stuff that's below the horizon. We have the part of fortune directly conjunct the ascendant, directly conjunct the ascendant. We have Pluto underground. We have the North Node underground. Like our highest hope is to stick with Pisces, with Neptune, with that higher love, with that higher compassion, with that connection with God. And that is underground. Right over there by Saturn. Saturn loves being down there, right? Saturnian, satanic, Satan, Saturn, okay, sitting right on top of Aries, the horns, the horned one, okay, Capricorn ascendant, the devil card in tarot, earthly matters, things happening underground. Where's Chiron? 29 degrees of Aries, just about to go from the fire, okay, underground and into the earth, underground, okay, underground. Everything, there's some full things happening, even though the moon is new. The moon is happening at a fuller degree, as have so many of these new moons for the past year and a half, dang near 2 years. For like a year and a half, our new moons were happening at right about 27 or 20, no, 28 degrees. Then it went to 27, 26. Now we're to 24, but that's still a pretty full degree for a new moon. The new moon is occurring, you know, before Father's Day weekend, before solstice weekend, which I believe is the third act of this play. Okay. What else is underground? Mars is underground. Okay, Mars is in Taurus. In the ground, underground. Okay, we're looking at Uranus, we're looking at Ceres, under the horizon, underground. And then, of course, we move to the new moon, the moon and the sun conjunct again, underground. Like the spotlight is happening underground. Okay, what does this chart look like to you? Is there an arch over the top of the chart? Can we think of any other arches and arcs that have been constructed recently? Do you think there could be any sort of energetic affinity to that mirror aspect happening underground? Do you think that there could be like a trapdoor situation to where the players on the octagonal stage shift and switch? Do you think that there could be an element of surprise, an element of magic, an element of improv? Do you think that there could be energies swirling purposefully yet chaotically? Do you think that there could be a Geminian drive for certain people who embody and channel elements of power, pillars of power throughout bloodlines and lineages? Do you think that it could be possible that sometimes people in power want to part the waves? You know, once I was at a show like a couple weeks ago. It was called Highly Suspect. And these I don't know if they're punk or if they're metal. I don't know like what you would classify the band as. They were rock. They were rock and roll. And there were people like crowd surfing and doing the mosh pit and da 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 da. Well, there's one part where this guy who was the lead singer of this band, I think his name's Jonathan, Johnny. He's a very powerful person and he's channeling while he's doing his work. Don't get it twisted. He's channeling. I'm not sure what he's channeling, but he's channeling. And as he was channeling, he did the thing where he parted the waves of the crowd. And it's called the wall, like in the mosh pit world. So one whole side of the audience is going to smash into the other whole side of the audience. Ostensibly, I would imagine that whoever the creator is, whoever the one empowering or channeling that energy at that time, swirling that energy that like would permit them to even conceptualize that they should do such a thing. You know, that person, that entertainer, that performer that splits, this person is the third pillar. This person, it's not the two pillars that we see that are mirroring each other. It's that third person. It's that, you know, that is actually channeling the power not only from the chaos but from also from whatever's feeding off of it. And I would say that, you know, just because you're channeling a power and just because it empowers you, it doesn't mean it's not feeding off of you. You know, sugar empowers you, but it's also feeding off of you, right? Like alcohol empowers you, but it's also feeding off of you, right? You make contracts with these spirits, and these spirits make contracts with you, and they have you signing those contracts in invisible ink, and you don't even know it sometimes. I don't even know it sometimes. But what I do know is what I feel. And what I'm feeling about this new moon is something wicked this way comes. And it's nothing new under the sun. Every story ever told has been thousands of years old. Everything you ever see or everything that will ever be is something that grew from the roots of a tree. Now that was channel. I was just freestyling. Please like, share, subscribe. Okay. But I mean, you know what I mean? I told y'all it was gonna be Sunday service. I got my habit on here. You know, sister Esperanza is about to preach about this moon. Okay, y'all, because I want shields up. I want cloaks for my people. Okay? I want cloaks for my people. I want, well, I ask for it, you know, I don't want anything. Like, I don't want anything. I don't want anything, you know? I don't want anything. I just could myself and my people please be protected? Thank you. We would really appreciate that. So that we can just continue to cook and do our work and love. Thank you. You know, like I ask, you know, I humbly ask. I you know, I can't want. I can't want. I can't afford to want. I can't spiritually afford to want. But I love you and I appreciate you hearing me. I appreciate the platform, you know. I appreciate Google, honestly. I appreciate YouTube as a product. Like I really do. Like I appreciate this product and I appreciate this platform and I appreciate the creativity that I'm granted in these exchanges. I really appreciate speaking back and forth in the comments, you know, giving these overlords more fodder in our psyche, but you know, all I am is offering them a lot of gems. And they're offering me, you know, real estate, mental real estate to exist somewhere, right? I think that they're getting more from me than I'm getting from them, but them's the breaks when you deal with oligarchs, right? Them's the breaks. All right, back to the moon, SB. I told you I'd go off the rails. So to continue, above the horizon, we, you know, and it's on the you know, it's on the descending side. So it's anyway, on almost conjunct the descendant. I mean, 4 degrees off. We have Mercury. We have Castor and Pollux. Here's some interesting things about this new moon that I've noticed too is just like the interconnectedness, the just like inextricable connectedness between this new moon in Gemini and Cancerian energy. It's inextricable. You know, obviously today we have Flag Day, we have the new moon, we have our president's birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. President. And I mean that. Like I don't wish anybody an unhappy birthday, you know? Like he has choices. His whoever it is, you know what I mean? Like you can't even convince me that that's who it is. You know what I'm saying? But whoever you are, whatever the F you're doing, I hope you're enjoying yourself because I don't think the rest of us are going to. Um, let's see. We have Castor and Pollux there, 20 and 23 degrees of the Cancerian zodiac. So obviously in the sky, as the astronomy sets Castor and Pollux in the astrological sign of Cancer, according to the precession of the equinox. We have Jupiter at 26 degrees. Do you see what's in between Jupiter and our girl Venus, who has just entered Leo, by the way, just went over our president's ascendant? Because his ascendant is pretty much conjunct Regulus. Well, Regulus is a Leo star, right? But as things kind of shift in the sky, like the zodiac stays where it is, things shift around it, right? So Regulus star is right around 0 degrees, zero, maybe half, almost 1 degree. No, I think it's right around 0 degrees of Virgo right now. So he has his ascendant rising, Leo rising at 29 degrees, pretty much close. It was conjunct Regulus, but things shift in the sky just a little bit here and there. Only president who didn't put his hand on the Bible being sworn in. Well, that's because he's Jewish. He's not Christian. So that's not his Bible. Like I guess he didn't ask for Torah. But Yeah, he's not Christian. Not that there's, I'm just saying. I'm just noticing. I'm just noticing. I'm just noticing. So, okay, we have Mercury, 18 degrees, Castor and Pollux, right? So Castor and Pollux are the twins, right? They are the Gemini twins. Well, Mercury, this is what I'm trying to get at here is again with those two pillars in this chart, there's going to be the third. Okay, so we have Castor and Pollux. Well, there's Mercury. Mercury is the power, but Castor and Pollux are the towers. Okay, Tower of Power, right? Okay. So then over here we have Jupiter, Venus. Jupiter, Venus are the pillars that everybody's been talking about, but what's in between them? It is this random asteroid called Ray Bradbury. Why are we talking about Ray Bradbury, you ask? Because art imitates life, imitates art. That is why. So we're going to get into that a little bit. And then we can see that Black Moon Lilith and the vertex of this chart are above the horizon, as well as the South Node, cleaning and clearing things out right around Regulus. The South Node is coming towards Regulus. Okay, so the South Node is coming to shit all over, because that's where we excrete. That's where things get dumped. That's where things get barfed out. That's where things get released, right? And so the South Node is the North Node is what we consume. The North Node is what we're swimming towards, right? So the South Node is on its way towards Regulus, towards Leo. Okay, so the South Node is creeping, getting towards the Leo, which will be what is getting released, what is getting banished, right? North Node in Pisces, though, is swimming underwater. North Node in Pisces is deep, 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 deep down in this chart. Not as far down as Saturn. Saturn is exactly at the bottom of this chart. You know what I mean? Look at that. Like I said, sitting right on the horns. You can't make this stuff up. You know? Okay, so let's get into some of this symbology that I have noticed. Saturn rules Capricorn. Capricorn is ascending in this chart, conjunct the part of fortune. What are some Saturnian themes that we can think of? If anybody is still here, I don't even know if there's people here, but if anybody's in the comments and you want to tell me some Saturnians, like when you think of Saturn, what do you think of? Do you think of rules, boundaries, fatherhood, paternal, patriarchy, men in power, old men in power, stable structures, rigid structures? Do you think of mountains, or do you think more of rocks? Does Saturn make you think more of like authority figures, or does it make you think more of like a benevolent father figure? Does Saturn give you the bone structure? Capricorn rules over our bones, especially our knees, right? So our knees are what enable us to climb, and our knees are what enable us to squat down as well, right? And dig ditches, dude. And dig graves and dig graves. Okay. So with Saturn sitting at that magical number of 13 degrees, might I add, Saturn is at 13 degrees at the bottom of that chart at that magical number. You can't tell me ain't nothing going on down there in that basement of that fun fair fun fair carnival. Saturn is like that serious math teacher. Great point, Stephen. Because Saturn keeps time like a motherfucker. Saturn is keeping time. Keeping time in sevens. 7 year cycle, 14-year cycle, 7 year takes 7 years to do that first quarter square, 14 years to do the opposition. 20 I'm sorry, 7, 14. Anyway, 7 year cycles for Saturn. I'm getting confused. Saturn, first quarter square, 7. Second, opposition, 14 and 28. Help me, Stephen. Anyway, Saturn is a serious timekeeper. I'm getting myself confused because I'm getting myself distracted. But I would do Saturn in 7-year, 14, or 28-year increments. Right around 27, 28, we have our Saturn coming all the way return. So 7, 14, 21, 28. 7, 14. Okay, so 7, 14, 21, 28, all the way around. I'd say 27, 28, you'll have your Saturn return. It'll come all the way back around your chart. But it takes about 28 years for Saturn to go from 0 all the way around the zodiac chart. But I'm confusing myself of like saying it in quarters. But you can mark time in 7-year cycles with Saturn, like by the dot. You can mark time in 7-year cycles sort of with Uranus, but not really. Uranus is in play, majorly in play in all of this underground, with maybe even with a wife. So I think we should pay attention to pairings where there's like a huge age difference, or where there are like mob wives, or women who are in charge of underground scenes or underground cartels and stuff where there's women in charge. I think that we could pay attention, especially like if there's an age difference, if they're with somebody with an age difference. I think we could pay attention to these kind of people. And it's kind of strange because I don't do mundane astrology. Like I'm not trying to do mundane astrology. I'm just like kind of noticing symbols and patterns, right? I do personal astrology, and if you would like me to look at your chart in a like fun and lighthearted way, like I am definitely somebody who tries to, I pride myself on having a sense of humor and having a sense of comfort for people to be able to, talk about some deeper things and not feel like some kind of way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty comfortable to listen to people on a one-on-one. Like, I'm not that great. I'm not that great in like social situations. I'm not that great of like a presenter, like live. My nerves won't let me. I'm really sensitive. Like I'm a super sensitive person. And sometimes when I'm in like, some people thrive on that energy and I just don't like, but I really thrive on one-on-one connections. I am a Gemini, and that mirroring aspect is something that I love to listen to what people are saying, and I love to reflect that from what I see in the chart. So for a personal reading, please hit the links here. I'll put a link. I'll put a linky dink. And you can hit it. Lots of you have hit it. And anyway, you know what? I really appreciate that. I have to say, I really appreciate spending time with you. Here's a weird connection to our bodies. Are going 7-year. Ooh, hair changes textures. Oh. So you guys can, and this is what hair changes texture every 7 years. That's crazy. Oh, thank you. Love you too. Um, Yeah, the only thing happening above the horizon of this chart is barely Phallus. Oh, let's talk about Phallus for a second here. Okay, so I kind of went from the ascendant, I went underground to Pluto, and I kind of knocked off like a little bit of what I was seeing off all of these planets all the way back around, and now we're coming back around to the ascendant, and Phallus is right there, almost near conjunct the ascendant. Phallus. Who is Phallus, you ask? Well, I might even have an image that could help us with that. Let's see if I have that in my photos. I think I do have it in here somewhere. But Phallus essentially represents our elders. Phallus has a very Saturnian vibe to him. And he does represent our ancestors or elders just doing dumb stuff, knowing full well that it's going to harm themselves and other people. I believe that in the I guess I don't have an image of it. And I don't think that this version of StreamYard lets me use my like screen. Like I don't think I can screen share very easily with this. So I'll just talk about Follis. Follis is he is a tragic hero. He is a centaur similar to Chiron, and Chiron is very much part of this story, but Follis conjunct the ascendant sort of gives me this vibe of like basically Follis, what happened to him is that he noticed that people were dying from poison arrows. So what does he do? He like touches the poison arrow and he ends up killing himself. You know what I mean? It's like you can see that he's like, "Oh, cool. Poison dart." Boom. He's, it's just doing something that it's going to harm you, but you see it happening and you see everybody else doing it. So why don't I do it too? That's the failure of Follis. Like Follis could have been powerful. He could have been the one left standing, really. You know what I mean? Because like he got more enamored with the power of the dart, right? Of the dart itself, of the poison itself, than how he could wield his protection of himself appropriately. And I'm not even sure if I'm recalling the story fully. So I would encourage you to fact check me, please, and look up the story of Follis for yourself. But as I recall, that's pretty much how it boiled down with that guy. And yeah, go ahead and look it up. See what you learn about Follis and let us know in the comments, please, and thank you. But yeah, we're working with that energy pretty close to our ascendant, and I can feel that energy emanating from some of our leaders. I'm sure we can fill in the blanks on those ones. By the way, has anybody looked at the names on the California ballot recently? Because they're really, really weird. Even one person who is running is named Barack D. Obama or something like that. Like, I'm serious. Like, there's a lot of wordplay going on right now. Obviously, it's Gemini season. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury rules like our language, having different languages, speaking with our hands, using our arms to do things, boxing, um, battling mano a mano, hand to hand combat. You know what I'm saying? So all of these themes are obviously present today and in our culture. But it's getting more emphasized right now. It's getting more inflamed and emphasized, especially today, tonight, with a lot of the festivities that are going on. And by the way, can I add that I freaking hate fireworks? Last moon that we had, it was so fun. It was Sagittarius full moon. We were eating tacos. It was me, Merlin, and Raffi, and it was fun vibes and celebration and let's have a brewski. And you know what I mean? It was like a completely different energy than I'm getting right now. Right now, I'm getting the energy of like, stick to the sparkling water, cloak yourself, affirm that you are the daddy-o of the patio, you know, occupy your space, protect yourself, protect your crown chakra, protect your heart, right? Use your throat to the best of your capabilities, right? Open up that throat chakra. This is Gemini season. This is how we speak, right? Some of us speak a lot through typing. That takes both hands too, and a mirror. It's a black mirror though. So I'd like to point that out that this is a black mirror. All right. So what can happen with a black mirror is that our images, our voices, and our messages can get distorted. All right. And especially with Uranus involved, I would like to point that out and make it clear that Mercury has already reached its pre-shadow phase as of yesterday. and it will be going retrograde, I believe, on the 9th of July until the 29th of July. But don't quote me on that. But Mercury is definitely in its pre-retrograde shadow phase. So Mercury is getting ready to slow down and stop. And so we might start to notice things from the past coming forward already. Okay? So just be aware of that in the vibe. Be aware that Chiron is entering Taurus here. Like literally, what is it? By tonight or tomorrow? That'll be a whole new era. There's a lot of symbols surrounding this moon, and I'll stick to the symbols. I'll stick to the symbols that I was swirling about. So something wicked this way comes. Well, obviously that's a famous line from the Shakespearean play that we read about. Oh, by the way, did anybody put the number? I didn't even look. The contest ended at 10. Did anybody put? Either way, I'll just do it. I mean, I'm going to read for all of us anyways, because I have a 10-card Celtic cross coming. After I blah, blah, blah about this moon, I'm going to read us a 10-card Celtic cross tarot. So stick around and stay tuned. Tell your friends, and we will do that. So I'll read for all of us. Twilight language. I don't know what that is, but that sounds like it would apply. Even basketball fans in New York lost their minds yesterday after the next one. And yeah, and speaking of losing our minds, right? So Algol, Mars is about to cross over that Algol. Remember the Taurus new moon that was conjunct Algol? Okay, so the Mars is about to cross over that. Mars is at, well, this is a great segue. Mars is at 20 degrees and 8 minutes as of this new moon. And then I started thinking, what the heck was Mars doing even in 2008? Like, what was Mars doing? Well, I'll tell you what Mars was doing in 2008. In 2008, Mars what was Mars doing in 2008? This is 2012. I don't know what Mars was doing in 2008, to be honest. I think somehow, though, hold on. I don't know what Mars was doing in 2008, but somehow it set me on a path to discover that curiosity, out of curiosity, which curiosity is a Gemini trait. Curiosity has to do with, you know, the Gemini is always flitting from a thing to a thing. Like, I want to know this next. I want to know that next. I want to know what they're talking about. I want to know what the gossip is. What are the celebrities doing? Wait, squirrel. You know, that's Gemini energy. And what made me think about Ray Bradbury is that something wicked this way comes is a famous line from Macbeth, but it's also a novel that he wrote and it got made into a movie. And that's the movie which was released, I think it was like 1983, but this was like a children's movie and it's called Something Wicked This Way Comes, and it's about like this mysterious character named Mr. Dark, and he's like a carnival like he owns like this carnival, and he comes into town and basically he convinces a lot of the town people to like do some pretty gnarly things for power. Something wicked this way comes. And then so I guess I started thinking about Ray Bradbury. I started thinking about that story. Um I started thinking about here. I started thinking about this novel. Okay, Something Wicked This Way Comes is a 1962 dark fantasy novel by Ray Bradbury, and the second book in his Green Town trilogy, which Town is based on Waukegan, Illinois, where he was born and where he grew up going to the library reading books. And it's like I have a connection to Waukegan myself because when I was a child, I did a lot of growing up there. And like I know a couple of other people too that have a connection to that area, to those Air Force, to like there's like a naval academy there. There's like basically there's like this perfect storm in that area of like, I was born in Highland Park, but I grew up a lot in Waukegan. And that whole area, that whole like kind of North Shore of Chicago, Chicago's a dark entity in and of itself. You could fight me on that. Chicago's a dark freaking entity. And a lot of people suck power there from dark sources. And they use the lake for dark things. They dump their darkness into the lake. Like they literally dump their sewerage into the lake sometimes. And poor mother water, poor mother lake, she's got to deal with all that, right? So I'm sure sometimes she gets like really angry about that. The water's angry, right? So I don't know, but I don't want to swim in it. I would go a little bit further north if I was going to swim in Lake Michigan. I'll tell you what. But anyway, yeah, Ray Bradbury is from Waukegan. Waukegan is what Greentown is based upon. And there's another kind of famous friend of ours, and he's from Waukegan. He was born in Waukegan. This Greentown trilogy, it's about two 13-year-old best friends, Jim Nightshade and William Holloway, and their nightmarish experience with a traveling carnival that comes to their Midwestern home, the Greentown, Illinois, on October 24th. Specifically, October 24th. Interesting. In dealing with the creepy figures of this carnival, the boys learn how to combat fear. The carnival's leader is the mysterious Mr. Dark, who seemingly wields the power to grant the townspeople's secret desires. Interesting. In reality, Dark is a malevolent being who, like the carnival, lives off the life force of those it enslaves. Mr. Dark's presence is countered by that of Will's father, Charles Holloway, the janitor. Of course, the janitor. Why wouldn't he be in the janitor? Of course. Oh, yeah, check out Dr. Narco Longo over there at Old World, Florida. He did a really great dissemination of the janitor archetype in one of his live streams. So hit that up. I don't remember if he talked about this in particular, this film in particular, but he did talk about Good Will Hunting and some other janitor archetypes that present throughout our arts, throughout the times. Mr. Dark seemingly wields the power to grant the townspeople's secret desires. And he lives off the life force of those that he enslaves. Mr. Dark's presence is countered by the janitor, who harbors his own secret fear of growing older because he feels he's too old to be Will's father. The novel combines elements of fantasy and horror, analyzing the conflicting nature of good and evil that exists within all individuals. Unlike many of Bradbury's other novel-length works, such as Dandelion Wine and The Martian Chronicles, which are fix-ups. Something Wicked This Way Comes is a single full-length narrative. Okay, so by fix-ups, they mean that like these are short stories that have been combined to make a novel, but this is a single continuous novel that he wrote all at once. And by the pricking of my thumbs, Something Wicked This Way Comes, as we know. So that set me on a path, and somehow I started thinking about what was Mars doing in 2008. Because Mars right now is at 20 degrees and 8 minutes in Taurus on the ground. Mars is on the ground, underground, in our home space in the fourth house. Mars is underground, on the ground, in our home space, okay, in the fourth house. Okay? Let's be aware of that, right? Be ready. So, I'd like to talk about Ray Bradbury and his connection to Mars. But first, I would like to look at this quote that Margaret Atwood. So, you guys all know Margaret Atwood, right? She's an author. She has written a lot of dystopian novels, most famously, The Handmaid's Tale. And she says she was warped early by Ray Bradbury. She wrote that Ray Bradbury was so much of a part of my own reading, especially the delicious clandestine reading done avidly in lieu of homework and the compulsive reading done at night with a flashlight when I ought to have been sleeping. Who hasn't done that? I totally used to like put the covers and have a flashlight if I was reading a really good book. Stories read with such enthusiasm at such a young age are not so much read as inhaled. She's not wrong. They sink all the way in and all the way down, and they stay with you. And I think that this is a really interesting facet of this quote, seeing and being that is Gemini season. His imagination had a dark side, and he used that dark twin and its nightmares in his work. But to the waking world, he presented a combination of eager, wonder-filled boy and kindly uncle, and that was just as real. In an age of writing classes, he was self-taught. In an age of spin, he was an authentic voice straight from the heartland. In an age of groomed images, he was a natural. Okay, but I just found that little snippet about the dark twin and how he created and manifested his work by using that dark twin gave him power. That dark twin is what brought out his creative influence on our culture. And I believe that that influence reverberates because look where Ray Bradbury and his influence land in our charts for this new moon. Right wedged between, that's that third pillar right between Jupiter and Venus. So we have a Mars influence here, right between Jupiter and Venus in this narrative, in this act two of our play. Act one, like I say, I believe, rolled out on Thursday the 12th when Uranus started to really start to bend these nodes, okay? Right around 2 degrees. And that movie was released. I'm pretty sure that anybody that went blindly into that movie went blindly into a ritual. Now it's act two. I mean, just because we're not blind doesn't mean that we're not part of the ritual either. I'm not saying that anybody that's aware or that has like the same thoughts that I do or notices similar things. I'm not saying that what I notice is true or anything. This is for entertainment purposes only. Like literally, this is all fun and games. This is obviously all fun and games to them. But yeah, anyway. Ray Bradbury, Mars influence. And out of curiosity, I would like to talk about Curiosity, which is a Mars rover that landed. It was launched during Sagittarius season. Okay. And it landed during Leo season. And it's at the Bradbury landing site. And the Bradbury landing site is named after Ray Bradbury and his Martian book, which I think I need to read. But I just thought it was interesting that it was called Curiosity. What is the Martian Chronicles? I need to read the Martian Chronicles and understand more about that because the way that Mars is working in our chart right now, I think that while our eyes are over here on what's going on at either an octodome or a concert or our hometown fireworks or whatever, I think there's stuff going on Mars. And I think that there's people that are negotiating underground for stuff to go down on Mars. Out of curiosity, out of curiosity. I just sort of made like that connection. Oh, let me catch up with the chat for a second because my eye just caught her saying that she's enjoying the comments. Hey Lisa. Hey Sharon. Hey, Charles. Hey, Brandy. Oh, Slick Dissident. Yes, Twilight language. Thank you, Slick Dissident. I love him. Slick's knowledge of the yes, he is such a genius. Don't we know so many geniuses on this platform? Like seriously, Slick is a genius. Chris is a genius. Chris Miner, I think his last name is Miner. He's a genius. Um, Kyle from Tippecanoe Herbs is a genius. Uh, Biochar Topher is a genius. Robert Phoenix is a genius. David Palmer's genius. Like, you're a genius. Everybody's a Gemini genius these days. Like, right? Like, we know some good ones. Longo, he's a genius. Wizard's a genius. Raffy's a genius. Like, yay. We know a lot of good minds, don't we, huh? Sup, Sharon? Sup, Charles? Sup, Brandy and Randy and I love you. The one who holds the keys. Good day, Lisa. Good day, Maya. Maya Rose. Steven. Uh, yeah. I'm enjoying your comments too. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being here and thanks for like also interacting with each other. I'm glad that like I could just like kind of like riff over here because you know I am such a chat like hoe. I am like such a hoe for the chat. Like I just cannot stop my little Gemini hands from like wanting to get in there. And then I like forget that it's like, dude, like you're the presenter. You gotta stick to the task, right? But like I get a little distracted sometimes. But as far as this chart is concerned, I would like to keep an eye on Mars, especially as it's approaching Algol within the next month here, and as we move more into the Cancerian season after the solstice and that closeout and moving into the Cancerian season, you know, a lot of people are asking themselves like, why are we doing the 250th celebration for the United States on you know, Flag Day, the 14th, Trump's birthday, and so on, and not on the actual 4th or you know, around the 4th of July. And to me, the obvious answer to that is because it's a dark moon. And there are certain magicians that just like love that stuff, you know? Like they're building a literal, like energetic you know, you think electroculture is a conduit. Wait till you see what this thing can do, or if it conducts lightning or something like that. Like I think that there's a really good chance that like there it could conduct lightning. I think there's a really good chance that there could be a lightning storm, a surprise lightning storm or something. You know what I mean? Um but yeah, lightning could strike like anywhere, really, at any time. And lightning comes from the earth as well as the sky. Like it needs that connectivity point. It just doesn't shoot down. It's just not like Zeus like shooting lightning bolts. Like it's a it's a connection. It's an energetic and electric connection. And so like when you're building, you know, conductive metal dome shaped I mean, you're kind of asking for the electric current to be altered. Let's put it that way. You're asking for the electric current to be altered when you build structures like that. And like that's not me being anything but practical. I'm very, very, very practical for as much as like I go off on these tangents, for as much as I'm like I literally need a whiteboard and a dry erase marker and post-its and like lots and lots of string. Lots and lots of string. Like I need that. But instead, all I have is my mind and this chart and you to listen, you know? And thank you for listening. Um let's see here. Pluto. Pluto is playing, like I said, with Neptune, Ceres, and loosely with Uranus. So the power is in the underground. The power is in staying in tune with whatever, you know, spiritual force you believe in. Now, That said, not everybody that we talk to, not everybody that we interact with, and not everybody who's in power in this crazy world where we like exist, our home, not everybody at our home, not everybody where we exist is necessarily channeling their power from an antenna of goodness and wholesome connection to a lighter type of clean, clear spirit, like in their hearts and stuff. Not everybody is channeling their power from that kind of God, from a loving God, from a Mother Earth God. I know Dead Wolf here channels his power from Mother Earth Goddess. He is very strongly, like, so strongly protective of his mother, of his earth, of his goddess. Like, that is where his goodness comes from, you know? Like, I channel my energy from what I call God, you know? Like, I don't channel my energy from there, but I do channel, like, I channel my energy from work, really, from working my muscles. That's where I channel my energy from Earth, from being here and being a part of Earth. But my spirit connection, I don't serve dark energies. I get swept up. I understand that. I am very practical. I understand that, like, I'm just a human being here. I'm just a traveler, and I'm gonna get swept up. But I refuse to serve. I refuse to serve. And, you know, I have good friends who willingly or unwillingly or knowingly or unknowingly, you know, we're all serving to a certain degree. We're all serving. We really are, you know. Um, but I try to keep it to a minimum. You know what I mean? Because it's a fact, you know, we're all subject to these rules and regs, you know, just to exist, just to barely be able to exist. But as much as I can, I try to amplify, you know, my Neptunian antenna. But I'm just trying to point out that with Neptune and Aries, with Saturn and Aries, right there at the bottom of the chart, not everybody who's channeling their Pluto power is channeling it from a divine constructive source. They could be channeling their Pluto power from a divine destructive force. Pluto rules over death, destruction. Pluto also rules over rebirth once we reach the other side of the horizon. The Phoenix rising, which interestingly enough, speaking of the Mars rover, I do believe that, oh, maybe that's what happened on Mars in 2008. Somebody can fact check me, but I think maybe what happened there, it could have been in 2008. But there was also a rover on Mars that was named Phoenix. And it was launched, yeah, I want to say it was launched on May 25th, 2008. Somebody can fact check me. But I believe that the Phoenix, the rising Phoenix, or the rover that was named Phoenix, had landed on Mars in 2008, May 25th. Because I was curious if that was happening during a new moon in Gemini, and it wasn't happening during the new moon in Gemini, because the new moon in Gemini that year happened on the 3rd of June, 2008. So I believe that in I believe that on Mars in 2008 there was a rover called the Phoenix, and then the one that landed on the Ray Bradbury site, the one named Curiosity, is what sparked me for Gemini season here, because Curiosity is such a Gemini theme, and I would pay attention to those types of rovers and those types of like uh machines that go and explore things. I would look for news of that coming out from the depths of the waters too, with the North Node in Pisces there. That news might become more apparent, like the actual findings and actually like releasing those findings into the zeitgeist, into humanity, into the atmosphere might happen after that nodal shift, after the North Node moves into Aquarius and the South Node moves into Leo later on in into Cancer season, and especially as the summer keeps moving. But I'd like to keep our focus here between now and the solstice next weekend. So next weekend, Father's Day, summer solstice, I'll probably meet back here and do another live stream, either solo riff, solo unhinged. And being unhinged is actually really on brand for this energy, because the hinges are literally the hinges of our destiny are literally hinged on Uranus. Uranus is literally the hinge that is holding our points of destiny together. So good luck with that. Good luck staying hinged. You know, Uranus in and of itself is disruptive. It's unhinged. It is quote unquote crazy town, right? But Uranus is also the all that is in the sky. Uranus is older than Saturn. Uranus is Saturn's dad, dog, you know, and like Saturn gets things done on Earth. Uranus is heaven. Uranus is what provides for that truth to occur. And truth is truth is truth. And Uranus does not care who wears the crown. Uranus is the Tower card in the tarot. Uranus is the lightning bolt, right? That is what it is. That's what's hinging our destiny at this moment, is that. So take the ingredients, take the pop rocks. You know, do you remember pop rocks when you were a kid? You would eat that candy and it would like kind of explode in your mouth. That's Uranus. That's Uranus energy. It's sweet, it's sparkly, and it changes the way you taste things. And if you're very creative and if your Uranus is well placed, then you invent things like these girls did one time when we went to a Brewer game. We rode a party bus up to a Brewer game. There were Cubs fans and there were Brewer fans. And when we got there, this chick was making shots of like some sort of neon. I don't know if it was Cortosal. It was like the color of my, I mean, it was like literally neon blue shots, and she put pop rocks all over the rim. So I would recommend that. Like if anybody needs to like relax this evening and just do something stupid. If you want to exercise your phallus in a safe way, phallus being the energy of you're doing something stupid, you're poisoning yourself, but you're doing it anyway. If you want to like symbolically represent that energy in your life, but in like a safer way than it might come at you, sometimes I really recommend like coming at the energy symbolically yourself, empowering yourself to like exercise that energy rather than letting that energy exercise the F out of you, right? So, one creative way, one Uranian way, one fun way to use that phallus energy of like, I know I'm gonna mess myself up, but I'm doing it anyway. I would take a shot glass. I would put a little bit of lime around. I would roll that shot glass in some pop rocks, and I would fill it up with some neon drink of choice, and I would kick it back right when that UFC thing starts, right when the ring dings, you know. You could even have one at the end too, have one at the moon or whatever. Um or do whatever, but I just think it's interesting to be aware of the ways in which this energy could potentially be utilized by us or anybody else, right? So if we're the type of people who get ahead and symbolically represent that energy in our lives in a fun way, then maybe we're the type of people who might want to put up extra shields on a day like today. And if we're the type of people who are using our dark twin for power in the earthly realm, knowing that our spiritual credit is broke, knowing that like after this realm is done, like we're effed. If we're gonna use that dark twin energy, today's the day. I'm just saying. Uh, especially after dark. Especially after dark. And there's people that will take that to heart, you know? And if you're gentle and if you're kind and if you're loving and if, you know, as much as you can help it, don't be prey, right? But hey, we're all just here having a good old time for entertainment purposes only. I would like to say that Ceres has the scythe, right? Ceres cuts things away. So Ceres over there with Uranus, you know, she's giving wifey vibes. She's underground. She's in 7 degrees of Gemini there. She's out ahead of Uranus. So she's sort of like wielding the machete cutting through the cornfields so that Uranus can blaze on in. You know, maybe Ceres is the one. Oh my gosh, I just got a insight. Okay, so maybe this Gemini new moon might also be linked to Ceres being the scythe and cutting away like wheat fields and stuff or cornfields and stuff. Maybe there could be like a crop circle that appears with Uranus ruling over like aliens and alien stuff and whatever. Maybe maybe the crop circle will say disclosure day, go see disclosure day or whatever. I mean, that would be a great marketing tool. They should have thought of that. They totally should have thought it. Maybe they did think of it. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the celebrity news and stuff. I used to watch TMZ. I used to love it just because it was so like I'm a Gemini. I love like the salacious gossip and stuff. But then like things started to get too icky for me. And so I can't even, I just can't even. But I still, I hear sprinkles of things and I hear people talking about stuff. And every now and then, like I'll walk into a room and somebody's got the TV on or, whatever. I still exist in life. Like I go to the bar, the TV's on, like I see what's happening. Like I know kind of what's going on. But have there been any crop circles recently, or did the Disclosure Day movie decide to like drop a crop circle? That would have been so brilliant. Hire me. Actually, don't. I don't want your fucking money. Um, but sorry. I mean, I just can't. I cannot with Babylon, you guys. Like, I just cannot. I cannot with Babylon. I cannot with Babylon. And maybe I am not rich in kingly terms in this lifetime. Maybe I am someday. Maybe my dark twin, wins someday and I do accept a ducat or a shekel or whatever from a dirty tap, or maybe I drink water from a dirty river someday. I don't know. Maybe I do it all the time. But like I say, I try to minimize it, If I know exactly what I'm looking at and I know exactly whose hand I'm shaking, there's some hands I just won't shake, you know? Even though I'm from the Midwest and we're supposed to be polite to everybody, but I'm just good on certain stuff, I just can't. I'm not built for it. Like I just can't. I've tried. Lord knows I've tried. Okay, like you guys, I have worked for some corporations, they who shall not be named. And I have too big of a mouth, and that's all there is to it. I have too big of a mouth. My mouth is way too big, And I just effing can't with some like energies. Like the way that some people operate is just beyond my capability. I just can't. And it's like just because you're in these organizations, it doesn't mean you have to operate like there's good people everywhere. There's good people in government. There's good people in the corporate world. There's bad people at church. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say that because like an entity is doing such and such that the people are involved are good or evil or anything like that. That's an individual situation. But just by my nature, I'm I have too big of a mouth. Like I can't be around people that are trying to get away with something, or that if I'm trying to get away with something, I usually tell on myself eventually, you know? So I don't know. Trying to let my light twin win. Charles. Yeah, there could be bad forces stealing energies. Thank you for sharing and helping me to in Chinese mythology, like Taoism, you can see yeah. Um, yeah. I would like to read about, let me just look at this chart one last time and see that okay, so we talked briefly about Black Moon Lilith trining the vertex of this chart. The vertex is like these little micro situations that can really change your life forever. The vertex is like a turning point. So as the north node and south node of destiny are hinged on Uranus here, the vertex is like kind of the key that turns the lock that opens that door and gets the thing hinged or unhinged, okay? And she's working in trine with Black Moon Lilith. So she's being empowered. She and Black Moon Lilith, the vertex and Black Moon Lilith are empowering each other here. Black Moon Lilith being that black mother energy, that dark feminine energy, the antithesis of Mother Mary, essentially, right? Or the nemesis of Eve, right? The one that got cast out, you know? Um, speaking of cast, Mars is sextiling Castor, one of the twins. So I think that that's just going to represent that like Mars is behind whatever twin wins. So as we're looking at this fight tonight, and as we're looking at the different acts that are going to roll through this fight, like how many do they have? They have like two heavyweights, a bantamweight, a lightweight, and a featherweight. Is that it? How many fights are there? There's probably 7 or 8. There's probably some magical like number of fights tonight. And I'd say that if you could find the winning twin, it's going to be Castor, not Pollux. Pollux is actually in a loose square to Chiron, so that person might be the one that's suffering the most injuries to the head. Chiron being at the fullest degrees of Aries, obviously. I mean, this is all just like basic stuff. You guys are all astrologers. You see pretty much all of this too, right? Like, um, I'm just looking really quick. Yeah. Saturn squaring the ascendant, grabbing his power. He's not accepting that he's powerful and standing on the top of the mountain. He's going down to hell and grabbing the power and grabbing the part of fortune from the ascendant and taking it down to hell with him. I think I've had about enough of this chart. I'm so serious. I almost entitled this video, I don't like this chart, y'all. Like, or what was I thinking? I was just thinking, I was like, I don't like this moon, y'all. Like, I don't like to play favorites or anything. It's just, I mean, I don't even know what the moon is, really. Like, what is the moon, really? It is what it is. But when I read this for the moon, I'm not reading the moon itself like as a person or as an entity. I kind of am personifying the heavenly bodies, the sun, the moon, the planets. Like I kind of am personifying them. I am treating them like they are our friends and that they are energetic forces that we are working with. Um, but that said, like in real life, like in 3D terms, like I'm not exactly sure what all of this is, but I do think I'm pretty sure what all of this means. And I'm pretty sure that I have some level of understanding that there are people out there that know way, way more about what this means and how to act, and not only how to act, but how to reenact as actors on a play that like keep doing the thing over and over and over again, which like brings us back to the beginning of this live stream where I was talking about how none of this is new. No story is new. We keep on rolling down the hill, gathering moss and redoing the same story ever told. You know, the same story ever told. So, the story that I got during this new moon, like I said, is something wicked this way comes. And at this point, I think I'm done with that chart. And I would like to focus in on Dane Rudhyar's Sabian symbols. He has a book called An Astrological Mandala where he has channeled Sabian symbol energy. And I'm putting it at 25 degrees because the moon is at 24 degrees and 3 minutes. So when you're looking at the Sabian symbols, 0 to 1 degree, starting at 0 is the first degree. 2 to 3 is 3. Okay, so 24 to 25 is 25. And the Sabian symbol for this moon is a gardener trimming lush palm trees. Interestingly enough, speaking of Dr. Narcolongo, he and One on One just did a recent live stream where they talked about the symbology of palm trees. And palm tree is also very important to Florida in and of itself. It's important to the Middle East. And it is also important to our presidente, who resides in Florida and loves golf courses and palm trees and the like. And palm trees, think about it. It's like a phallic thing coming out of the ground, like splooging. It's palms everywhere, right? I mean, it's very basic, simple symbolism. So, I mean, isn't this whole celebration today like just one big kind of manifestation of that, right? It's interesting how these symbols all like come around this moon, right? So we're just noticing. We're just noticing. So, a gardener trimming lush palm trees. I think it says lush. What does that say? I can't see it because it's like, oh, hey, maybe I should take myself out of the scene. How about that? How about them apples? Oh, a gardener trimming large palm trees. Okay, that's what it says. A gardener trimming large palm trees. And the keynote is bringing under control nature's power of expansion. Ha ha. Control your wands, dude. Or like taking your wands to channel that masculine energy. Here, let me like do this again. Oh, wrong one. Hey, so listen, I did not read this yet. Like I'm reading this for the first time with you, like right now. I decided to like screenshot that and like put it in here. I upload, but I'm learning right here too. Like I also didn't study the chart too hardcore. Like I saw a few things in that, but I like to be fresh. I like to be with you because that's like how I like to do with the sessions too, the one-on-one sessions, because there is an element of channeling involved here. You know what I mean? And that happens like while we're together. That happens like right now, right? So anyway, we're bringing under control nature's power of expansion. Somebody's starting to mow their lawn, so I'm going to quick get through this and then we'll do our 10 card Celtic cross tarot. The intellect of man is like a tropical plant in that it tends to expand wildly in many directions, seeking contact with the sun's rays. Speaking of ray, and all things ray. Like a palm tree, it uses its dead leaves to protect itself It uses its dead leaves to protect itself against dry heat, the heat of the realm of mind when deprived of the complementary power of the feelings. Oh, I gotta put it up over here so I can see what it says. A culture is characterized by specific forms and prime symbols. Education's main object, at least in cultural and classical periods, has been to contain the imagination of individuals within these traditional forms. An entirely different approach to education is being attempted in our transitional age. That is so crazy because I've been talking about that with a lot of people. Like yesterday, I had a couple of conversations about literacy and or the lack thereof. At this last stage of the 17th fivefold sequence, we have reached the level of fulfillment of the impulses which began at the first stage, Gemini 21 degrees, in a tumultuous upsurge of self-assertion and protest against the past. Now this upsurge has found its place in the evolution of mankind and society, and symbolically speaking, labor has become not only unionized, but a strong force in the body politic. Talk about underground, talk about everything that we were talking about, things happening underground, underground groups, underground powerful groups that like become not only unionized, but a strong force in the body politic. Think of all those union laborers that are like constructing that very dome. Yet the energies released seek constant expansion and therefore have to be controlled. There is a need for repeated pruning. ¡Ay! Pues venga, jardineros. Venga, vámonos, jardineros. Let's go, gardeners. Bring out your pruning shears. Let's go. Let's prune the palm tree. make sure your palm tree is good and pruned, y'all. That's the energy here. Actually, after this new moon, the new moon, it hits at 24 degrees at here, I'll just like talk to you now. Oh, by the way, when I put those images up, can you guys even see that? Or is it like, did I have to like take it and put it? I guess I'll figure it out after this video processes. I'll learn if I have to like adjust the way that I put things on the stage or on the screen or whatever. But yes, as this new moon occurs, pretty much the minute that this new moon occurs at 24 degrees and 3 minutes at 9:54 p.m. on tonight, the 14th of June, 2026, the moon is going to go void of course, pretty much immediately after that. And then let me see, when does the moon enter into Cancer? The moon enters into Cancer then tomorrow, I believe, tomorrow morning at let me look here really quick. Yeah, tomorrow morning, right around 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, right around 7 or 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, the moon will enter into Cancer. So when the moon enters into the zodiac sign of Cancer, to have a water moon, it is a good time to get a haircut. And it's as the moon starts to grow, if you want to get a haircut and have it stay nice, like Monday might be a good day to do that, like Monday during the day or whatever. Speaking of keeping the palm tree trimmed, speaking of gardening and pruning and keeping everything like, nice and situated and stuff, because like not everything is that deep. Like sometimes we could use these moons for very mundane tasks and still that symbolically represents our offering to life, that we are at least open to having a conversation. We might not be praying, we might not be thinking about God in these like religious terms, but I think that in order for us to fine tune our free will and intuition, step one is having an openness to accept and engage in a conversation with life. And I feel like life is full of energies that are communicating with us. The planets being larger voices that are further away. So even though it's a big voice, it might be hard for us to hear it sometimes unless we really tune in. And then there's the voices that are like right next to us. There's voices that are whispering close. We get little whispers and kisses and hugs and smacks all the time, don't we? And hi, sweetheart. Buenos dias. Josie. Love you, Josie. I hope I said buenos dias to everybody here. If I missed your name, I was like kind of in the zone today more than I was playful. Like when I'm feeling playful, when I feel like you want to catch me playful? Catch me last live stream. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that playlist because I was feeling playful. I was having a great old time. Thank you, everybody who participated in my birthday live stream this past Tuesday. We did some readings. I put the timestamps up. If you guys want to find your reading, you can find your timestamp there and check that out or refer back to it some other time. I would also like to shout out really quick, Quick Hits Tarot. I do these videos every Monday through Friday. I upload at 6 a.m. and I try to pull 3 tarot cards, but it usually ends up being much more and an oracle. But I do like these kind of like mini readings with the cards just to sort of give us a chance to have these images help us tune into the symbology that we might bump into or get kissed with or smacked with as we go through our day. And then we quickly, just very quickly, look at the chart for the day and I rattle off a few of the aspects or a few of the energies that I see in the chart, and that's it. You know, probably 15 minutes or so. We usually, sometimes shorter, sometimes much, much longer, because I am a long-winded Gemini when you give me the chance. I have my Mercury in Cancer right near my ascendant, so if I get into my feels, my mouth is moving accordingly, right? Or else sometimes when I get into my fields, like I don't talk at all. Like if I'm really mad, like you're not gonna hear from me. Like you might be right in front of me, but I'll walk right past you. Like you won't exist. That's how my communication, that's my healthy communication style with Mercury. I blame Mercury. It's not my fault. It's not my immaturity or trauma that leads me to do that. No, of course not. So let's lighten the mood here because this dark moon had me in some dark vibes, and let's do the Gemini thing. Let's pivot. I tuned up the guitar. Maybe I'll play a song on the way out. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in such things. If you're not interested in such things, then you can adios or whatever. Thank you for being here at this time. I'm going to pull a 10-card Celtic cross for all of us. I'm going to answer the question that I asked earlier. That Shakespearean play is called Macbeth. That was Act 4, Scene 1. So that's the answer to that. I'm sure we all knew that. Everybody knew that. But it's just kind of fun to play because play is the act of play. Geminian, you know, art imitates life, imitates art. We have a stage, we have a mirror, right? Water is our first mirror. And I actually didn't delve into that deeply, that connection between the Cancerian vibe and the Gemini vibe at this new moon, but just to say that like the moon rules over the zodiac sign of Cancer. And obviously, Mercury rules over the zodiac sign of Gemini, with Mercury being in the sign of Cancer and the moon being in the sign of Gemini. We do have mutual reception, but we also have all these other vibes amplifying that mercurial that Gemini Cancer connection at this moon, more so than usually we have at a new moon in Gemini. So I would just like to keep us all aware that like the driving force of this communication for us, especially in the United States of America, because our entire country, like our vibe of our nation, like the heartbeat of our nation is Cancerian energy. And like our sun, our nation's sun is in Cancer. So who is our nation's sun? Will we consider that to be Baron Trump? I don't know. Like, who is our nation's sun? Who is the sun of our nation? Like, I'm not even sure who that is considered to be right now. But Cancerian vibes are very motherly, they're very protective, but they're very tribal. And they're very moony. Like the communications could just really shift and change. Like if we would pay attention to the cycles of the moon, then we will be aware of the cycles of communication that are going to be rolling out now and well through the summer. So that's why we gather here and do these things, because we get into the vibe and then we start to pay attention that every couple of days, like I said, like the moon is going to move into Cancer. The moon's immediately going void, of course, after this new moon. So what is void, of course? That's the last aspect that the moon's going to make for a while. It's not making any aspects between then and like 8 a.m. the next morning. So basically, when the moon is void, of course, as Haley Comet Astrology says, she's great. She's on YouTube. Check her out, Haley Comet Astrology. But she always says, when of course the moon is void, important tasks we must avoid. So we know that these magicians aren't going to be signing any contracts, or, you know, all of the action is leading into this moon. By the time the moon hits, you know, 10 p.m. my time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I mean, maybe those fights are going to be over. Like there's going to be some dead zone there. So at a void of course moon, there are certain things that certain magicians might get accomplished during that time, but on the mundane level, as far as you and me are concerned, like for me personally, even though I'm a Gemini, even though I love Gemini energy, even though I love like my own personal magic, and even though I'm accepting of the fact that like I am my own magician in my own life, like this is not a manifesting moon for me. Mm-mm. No. This is a banishing moon for me. This is a purification moon for me. This is a protection moon for me. How do you feel about this moon? Like, what is the moon like for you? Maybe the cards will have something to say to us about it. Let's clear ourselves up and get into the zone and vibe with these cards for a minute, should we? And then maybe we'll have some little extra info. Just a little cray-cray. Stargate energies, true. Yeah. All right. Let's get all of our most loving spiritual protectors and ancestors, loving and protective. And may we cleanse and rid and banish any energies that would not protect the goodness of our tribe and of our vibe. Because our vibe attracts our tribe. And anyway, I mean, no matter what your vibe is, I don't care how good your vibe is. Like sometimes the better your vibe is, the more like parasites you can attract because they find you delicious. So don't even ever think that if something bad, quote unquote, or if something distasteful like enters your field or enters your aura, that's because you attracted it. Like polar opposites like are the energy that it keeps things held together. So just know that like if you're getting your heels nipped at by some ickies, it's probably because your light is shining so much brighter. It happens. You know? All right, let's work with the Morgan Greer Tarot today because that's my fave. That's my favy fave. And then after that, we will pull a dumpster fire oracle to reinforce what we already know, right? Because we're just fine-tuning our free will and intuition. We already know what we know, but we're getting some visuals to go with the story, right? And we're helping our imagination, because I think that imagination is like so important. It's important to be able to imagine and to like see images and imagine what that could be like, you know, because our imaginations are getting hijacked left and right. Like, people are on their devices. We have no attention span anymore. It's really hard to sit and just draw something for hours and hours. Like, some people can, but a lot of us are kind of letting our imagination be co-opted by other means, instead of doing things by hand or writing things by hand or just sitting and reading a book and imagining the scene in your mind or stuff like that. So let's think about curiosity, imagination, death reversed. I got right in my lap, death reversed. So there could be some tomfoolery or some shenanigans surrounding death. Death could be internalized, that death process, that death rebirth process, that Pluto. Remember how we were talking about Pluto underground, underneath the horizon? Maybe there's a fake death. Maybe somebody faked their death. Maybe something that we thought that was dead, done, and over with is coming back around with that Mercury retrograde shadow. And then we have to like cut it off once more just for good. So since we got our jumper, I think we can pray and play for our 10 card Celtic cross of today. So let's get in the zone here so you can see these cards. It's gonna be a mirror, because when I do a 10 card Celtic cross, there's no way I can read it upside down. So it's just gonna be like that. So you have death reversed here as the vibe. Thank you for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me. See the mirror? You can see my reflection on this mirror. It's just interesting, huh? All right. New moon in Gemini. This is us, our challenge, the near past, the near future, our conscious awareness, our subconscious awareness. How do we see ourselves? How do other people see us, or what's in our environment? What are our hopes and fears? Well, what's the likely outcome if we just keep doing what we're doing? Are we going to keep getting what we're getting? Right? So this is what we're vibing with. Reversed. You can't see that, can you? There we go. Well, now I guess I'm blocking. Oh, it's okay. I'll put the cards up. So let's see. We are the Page of Swords reverse. So we're dealing with some maybe some clogged communications, maybe Gemini Aquarius or Libra energy could be coming through a little bit harsh. Maybe there's lies, maybe what is being presented as new information, we might have to take a double take and decide if that's actually true, or if we're being presented with new starts. And you know, the Page of Swords basically starts things off. Page of Swords is like the kickoff to new eras in the tarot. The Page of Swords is the wielder of the truth, and the Page of Swords is where we finally grab onto that sword that is handed to us from the ace, from God. It's that inspiration, that light bulb moment, and depending on who gets a hold of that sword and where they're going to put it. Remember, Mars was under the horizon. Mars rules over swords, even though Gemini is air energy and Gemini is ruled over by Mercury. there's this element of cutting, this element of truth, this element of justice that always comes through in the swords cards in the tarot, which makes it kind of a tough sign because sometimes the truth hurts. But when the truth gets put into the wrong hands, you know, like everything that we described about this moon, far as I know, could be true. But if that information gets into the wrong hands, or it's wielded in the wrong way by the wrong people, or these new starts and communications are wielded in a way to where the truth is put down instead of held up, okay, that's something for us to consider during this new moon in Gemini. So straight out the bat, we're pulling Gemini energy for the Gemini new moon. Interesting. What's the challenge? Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is interesting because look at the brick symbolism. It brings us back to the masonry aspect. Masonry is when you build with bricks, right? You make the bricks, you put them out in the sun, they dry, and you build with them. Three of Pentacles is a card of cooperation. Three of Pentacles is when we bring in that third element. And then it builds a spiritual home for the community. It builds a stable structure for the community. So the new starts in Gemini new moon energy are being challenged by these groups or cooperative, you know, we're being challenged by this cooperative aspect. And also I learned from David Palmer, the Leo King, the other day, he pulled the Three of Pentacles, I believe, in a reading, or he mentioned the Three of Pentacles in one of his readings. And he was saying that Three of Pentacles can also represent like backroom conversations. Maybe it was when he was talking to Anne Wolke during the full disclosure program that they do. But I can't remember exactly, but I heard it from him that the Three of Pentacles can also represent like backroom negotiations, secret society meetings, so on and so forth. So our new starts as people, because pages and kings and queens I read as actual people, but the pages are going to be like normal people like you and me. They're not kings and queens. They're just starting out on the journey, and they might never even be crowned. They're workers, they're messengers, they're communicators. They're the like, don't shoot the messenger. You know what I'm saying? But this person might be challenged by these types of cooperative groups, or they might be challenged to have to participate with and within some of those groups, or they might be approached by some of those groups and like have to decide where they want to wield their sword, how they want to use their magic and their information. Near past, King of Wands, Sagittarian energy, Aries energy, Mars energy, fire energy, Leo energy. King of Wands is somebody who is established, a king who has already been crowned, a king who wields his fire, somebody who might have a temper, somebody who might have a fiery personality, somebody who might happen to have an ascendant at 29 degrees of Leo, for instance. But with this 10 card Celtic cross, of course, we're speaking about our personal lives now, because now we're just having fun for entertainment purposes only. So in the near past, you know, you might have been in contact with a person who could represent this energy in your life, or this could be you wielding your creativity in very powerful, very growth producing ways. King of Wands is like, he's sturdy, he's stable, but he's fiery, and he doesn't mind using action, anger, and aggression to get his way. However, on the other hand, he's very fatherly, he's very sensual, he knows how to excite people, he knows how to get the party started, and he also knows how to wield his wand appropriately. He knows how to trim his palm tree, okay? Let's just put it that way. Near future, Six of Pentacles reversed. So this element of upside down justice, this element of some being the haves and some being the have-nots, and not having an even distribution of wealth. Having this wealthy person leaning more towards certain people than other people. Again, another element of Gemini is, of course, the duality. The 6 being a Gemini number, and in the Gregorian calendar, of course, it's the 6th month. In our astrological calendar, it's the 3rd month, but 3 times 2 is 6, and Gemini, Libra, and there's an affinity there too, because we have the scales of Libra trying to bring balance between, like, those who are the haves, those who are the big families, you know, they might be trying to make huge donations and just sort of like dump some of their wealth in certain places, or in our personal lives in the near future, this might come through as like us feeling an unfairness. Maybe we have to pay more than we think we're due. Or maybe we have to accept that unfairness of life, that some people do get the handouts from those who are already established and already wealthy. And it's like, you could reach all you want, but they might not touch you. You know, they might touch the guy right next to you, but they might not tap you to be lifted up by their wealth and status. There's pretty much like the only chance for people like you and me, and I'm assuming like you're a normal person like I am, but like pretty much the only chance for me to make it the way that I am, and to be like thriving, like vibrantly thriving, like financially, is through my connections. Because you know, I was not born into some sort of dynasty. You know what I'm saying? So we either have to connect with each other, or we have to connect with people who have already established themselves and they're willing to like hold their hand to you and say like, here, I'll help you step up this step. Like this is like somebody helping people to to level up, to level up a step, to step up from their situation. They're asking for the help and the help is received, and this person's trying to balance the scales because maybe they have that guilt. Maybe they have that like wealth guilt. I know there's a lot of people that have that. If you have wealth guilt, go ahead and QR codes right there. Any wealth guilt, I'm a Gemini, I can handle that for you. So but yeah, with the Six of Pentacles reversed, there might be a situation where we feel like we have to give more than we're receiving. We might just feel like there's an imbalance in earthly ways. This could just be the vibe around us where we start to feel the unfairness of the haves and haves not situation, just out there in the world or in our personal lives. In our conscious awareness, we're dealing with the moon. Of course, we're dealing with the moon. Why wouldn't we pull the moon card on a moon? We do that. And look, the pillars, everything we were talking about, you know? And the moon, I think, is ruled, for me, the moon is ruled by like, I would put the moon with Cancerian energy because the moon rules over the Cancerian zodiac sign. There's this kind of like lobster guy, this kind of crabby, lobstery looking guy that comes out from the shore. And then these two dogs, to me, represent the wolf star Canopus and the dog star Sirius. So Sirius and Canopus reside right around, right near, or I'm sorry, I think the wolf star Canopus resides around 14 degrees of the Cancerian zodiac, and I think that the dog star Sirius resides around 15 degrees of the Cancerian zodiac. But those, again, those shift a little bit, just like the lion star, the kingmaker, like the king star Regulus, has a little bit of variation between those ending degrees of Leo and now into Virgo. These two stars also in the Cancerian zodiac have a little bit of variation, anywhere between 14 and 16 degrees of Cancerian zodiac, you'll find them. And they're kind of like twin stars, interestingly enough. So that's why I feel that the moon card is representative of Cancerian zodiac energy. But let me know what you think in the comments or in the chat. What zodiac sign you think the moon represents. Anyhow, this is in our conscious awareness. In this spread, we got the moon card. So, I mean, I guess the cards are just speaking to us in a very basic way today. They're just like very literal. Like, hello, you're thinking about the moon. It's in the conscious awareness. The moon is crowning this spread. Duh. Okay. Well, thank you, Tarot. Thank you for that confirmation, for that visual that confirms what we were already thinking, right? Our subconscious awareness, the Hierophant. No surprise there either. We were talking about, you know, patriarchal structures, religious structures, entities. Look, he's sitting between, it's implied that he's sitting under an arch, but he's still sitting between the two pillars. He's got his two fingers raised in that occult way. I don't know what that exactly means, but I know that it's symbolic. I know that he has his antenna to go to God in the higher realms or to reach spiritual realms, but he's holding the keys and the lock, and you have to in this realm, you have to go through this person in order to be able to reach God or to reach a higher level of spirit. So in our subconscious awareness, we do know that these structures do exist, that these hierarchical structures to where like I have to go through you to get to the next level, or I have to believe in your beliefs to be granted access into the club. Like I have to pledge, you know, whatever oath to whatever group that you are a leader of in order to receive your protection. Otherwise, I'm wild. I'm feral. I'm on my own here. I'm only protected by the light of the moon, and the moon is dark right now. So it's like conscious awareness, we know what our intuition is telling us. Subconscious awareness, we know that there's structures in actual society that like we just have to work with, like it or not. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be lone wolf. How do we see ourselves? Seven of Cups reversed. Seven of Cups upright is a very Neptunian card, very foggy. It's really hard to make decisions. With the Seven of Cups reversed, I think the fog is clearing a little bit. Like I said, it might become easier to see the truth, but it doesn't make it necessarily easier to act on it. You still have the Hierophant working there in the background, in the subconscious energy, holding up this entire story. The Hierophant could also represent, you know, actual like the Vatican, or I mean V is for Vatican, right? And the Hierophant can be a pope, a cardinal, Pope Leo, for example, since, you know, the South Node is about to move into Leo. Pope Leo rules over that Chicago energy, that Waukegan energy, that Ray Bradbury energy, you know, it all kind of comes back around. The Hierophant definitely represents institutionalized religion in general. And what does that mean to our country? What does it mean to be one nation under God? Why did they add that under God part in 1963? I believe they added that. But originally, the Pledge of Allegiance didn't have that one nation under God aspect. So subconsciously, these building bricks, okay, these bricks that build these towers, okay, that certain people are closer to, right? These towers of knowledge that certain people have access to and power over, and the keys to the kingdom, right? Certain people have the keys to the kingdom. And it's like subconsciously we realize that, like, you know, we do have to have a relationship with this energy, like it or not. How do we see ourselves with the Seven of Cups reversed? Like I said, there's more clarity. Like our heart is more clear on what is actually happening. Our heart is more clear on what our communications are with the Mercury and Cancer. Like we said, just above the horizon there is some light on how the water affects our communication, how our communication affects our waters. Maybe now would be a really good time to do something like I follow a guy here on YouTube. His name is Pennsylvania Woodstream man, and he goes down to the river and he literally plays this hand drum, and he plays like really beautiful music for the water. I think the water appreciates that, you know? So as we become more clear on what our heart is telling us, as we become more clear on how we can communicate from the heart, we might want to become more clear on our water source. What's the source of water for ourselves? What's the source of our emotions? Why do we have certain emotions surfacing? Why do we have certain emotions and certain things spilling? Like, why is that? And how is water playing into this moon, right? In our environment, we're dealing with the Wheel of Fortune. Of course we are. Wheel of Fortune, and you saw me shuffle this deck, right? You understand, like, I'm not doing like I'm not trying to like pull all these magical, like this, you saw me, right? Like, I don't want anybody to think that I'm like doing this on purpose, but like in our environment, we're dealing with Wheel of Fortune energy 10, the, you know, culmination of cycles before a new cycle begins. So I do really think that there's going to be a shift in time. The Wheel of Fortune wheel, the wheel is, it just keeps on spinning like the wheel of time. There could be an acceleration. in this process. I'm pretty sure that time very rarely slows down. Time has only slowed down for me like twice in my life, and that was when I was having a near-death experience. And it only slowed down momentarily, enough for me to take a breath and let go of the wheel. Let go of the wheel, honestly, because like one of those experiences, I was in a car and I literally just took a breath and let go of the wheel, and I left the scene, and I like literally had one scrape on me, but that's just because I reached into my purse to get my ID to show the police officer guy, and I accidentally scraped myself like on my purse, and he's like, "Are you injured?" I'm like, "No, actually I just did that," you know? So the car was totaled. So with the wheel of fortune, you're either on the top of the wheel, the side of the wheel, you could be barely hanging onto the wheel, you could be clinging to the bottom of the wheel, just waiting to get pulled back up over the current, you know, but the wheel just keeps turning. And these people are having a good old time at the top of the wheel, but the wheel can turn pretty quick. There could be a cog in the wheel that goes missing. There could be somebody that sticks a stick in the spoke of the wheel. That could be Uranian. So that when they think that they're on this nice ride, they think they're on this nice Ferris wheel, they might get stuck. And then the top of the wheel doesn't feel so great when you have to come down and go to the bathroom and do human things. Maybe it's not so great to be on top of the wheel forever. You know, just like in the most basic sense. So if there's any sort of carnival Ferris wheel situation, maybe that could become, you know, a symbol that we could be working with. Wheel of Fortune has to do with luck. It has to do with winnings. It has to do with lottery. It has to do with luck. Luck is luck is luck. You know, you are the one that quantifies whether that luck is good or bad. You are the one that decides, like, oh, I'm having a lucky day. Well, what kind of luck? Are you having good luck today? Bad luck today? You know, but with the Wheel of Fortune, we just know that change is around us, change is surrounding us. This could also be the position of how other people see us. So other people might see us as blessed with good fortune. I like this Wheel of Fortune card because it's a couple together and she's holding the cup. Again, that cup symbolism of like, you know, being in tune with the fact and enjoying the luck while you have it. Enjoying what you have while you have it. Enjoying the fact that you're at the top of the wheel when you are there. What's up, Jillian? How you doing, girl? Our hopes and fears. Two of Wands reversed. So our hopes and fears can be like this person in this card and the Two of Wands upright. This is that we're holding the world in our hands. This person has already established their wand. And now they're standing on top of their castle and they've got the world in their hands and they're using their power out there in the world. But our hopes and fears could be that this king who's on top of their castle, this noble person, noble man, noble woman who's on top of their castle, that they might use their wands in an upside down way in this world. They might channel their power, like just like we were talking about this moon. Like there could be some magicians who use their wands in an inverted way. Okay, inverted card means inverted energy. On a personal level, this could be stuff that we could work on. We could work on our power. We could work on our own magic. We could work on exerting our power a little bit more towards the world instead of just letting these nobles and these kings and queens exert their power onto the world. Like we can exert our power onto the world too. Like I said, we can sing to the water. We can say thank you to Mother Earth. We can say thank you to Father Sky. We can bless our food. There's things that we can do to exert our power onto reality, onto the world, and onto mundane things. Um, it's just energies, it's just thought, it's just entertainment and images that we could reflect on. Gemini season being a reflective time, and the likely outcome if we just keep doing what we're doing is Five of Swords reversed. So that's interesting. Five of Swords reversed is kind of like an I told you so type energy. Five of Swords reversed, Five of Swords upright is kind of a sad card because with the Five of Swords upright, it's just like the twins, honestly, are walking away from that third element, that third dark cloaked element. And the twins are walking away like, okay, fine. you win. You know, there's an argument here between these three forces on how they want to exert their truth in reality, how these pages all want to wield their swords. And with the Five of Swords reversed and the Page of Swords reversed, I think there's a situation where the twins, the Gemini is walking away from the dark blue cloaked hooded figure. The Gemini is walking away, and instead of just letting them keep all the swords, with the Five of Swords reversed, there's this element of like, hey, no, like, I'm not just gonna let you have it. I'm not just gonna let you take all the swords. Like, here, the Gemini walks away and says, okay, fine. You might have won this battle, but you didn't win the war, but I'm gonna walk towards the sunset on this one. My Gemini self, me, my twin, Castor and Pollux, whoever the twins could be, whoever the Gemini could be in this situation, allows this dark force to take all the truth and take all the swords and wield all the swords. And they gave up their swords. They left their swords just to walk away and just be like, okay, fine, I'm not doing this. But with the Five of Swords reversed as the likely outcome for this new moon in Gemini 2026, I would have to believe that nobody's going to let go that easily. Nobody's going to let that go in an argument that easily. Nobody's going to let that go in Martian sense. Things that we might have thought that somebody let go of before might come back around, especially with the Mercury retrograde here. Elements from the past, information from the past, decisions from the past, and logistics from the past, plans that we made in the past, and discussions or disagreements in the past that we had with others might come back around. And this time, we might not just let them, we might not just walk away silently and let them feel like, ha, I'm winning. So that's kind of interesting, huh? Look at that interesting reading, that powerful cards, huh? We have the Death reversed, Scorpionic energy coming back around, like Plutonic energy for us to think about. Okay, and I'll go through the cards one more time. Our querent is the Page of Swords. Our challenge is the Three of Pentacles. Near past, King of Wands, King of Rods. Near future, Six of Pentacles reversed. Conscious awareness, the Moon. Subconscious awareness, the Hierophant. How do we see ourselves? Seven of Cups reversed. How do other people see us or what's in our environment? The Wheel of Fortune. And this card has Pat Sajak and Vanna White on it. Two of Wands reversed in our hopes and fears position. Like, what are we clenching ourselves over, either in excitement or in anticipation or in anxiety, you know, hopes and fears. And the likely outcome, if we keep doing what we're doing, I don't think we're going to have to give up any battles to any dark forces. We can hold our own here. Partners. All right. My vibing partners here. So, yeah, I think we pretty much did what we came to do, right? Talk about that new moon in Gemini and pull some tarot cards and talk about what we notice. Two lobsters. Hey, Amanita, what's up? Two lobsters for show. Blue and golden lobsters are, gosh, that is so interesting. You see, you all have like, yeah, like, yes. And a blue lobster, maybe the son of our country, actually, that people are talking about is Hunter Biden. And he's a blue lobster, if I've ever thought of one. We all saw him in the bathtub. Anyhow, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me. Hi, Ricky. How are you? Buenos dias. Let me just go back and see if I missed. I might have missed saying good buenos dias to people, and it concerns me. Buenos dias in general. I'm not as good of a chatter when I'm the one actually chatting, when I'm the one actually talking. So thank you very much, Stephen. I love you and thank you for accepting my fire. Thank you for accepting my wand. And thank you for being on this journey with me. A lot of you are very creative and soulful and loving and like clean-hearted folks, all of you. And in your own ways, you've so much contributed to me as a person, to my creative life. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for allowing me a forum like for my mental and spiritual space to kind of like bloom a little bit and be shared, like, because what good is having gifts if you can't share them with anybody? I hope you feel like you can share your gifts with me. I love your gifts. I love your gifts. I love your, if you post the videos, I love your videos. I love you as you are. And oh yeah, can I close out since I said it was going to be Sunday service? I would just like to close out with this lovely prayer that I really, really love so, so much. And I love you and I thank you. And y'all just um, do what you got to do out there. And God willing, I'll see you next time. And I just would like to say this. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Love you, bye.